So I did it. I fell into the hole that is the buy it when it's announced product. I picked up on the day of release the JHS Notadumble. First off, I paid for this myself at $119 plus taxes and shipping. There's no product placement here. This video is in no way affiliated to JHS Dumble or any retailers or any manufacturers. It took about a week for the post office to ship it out, though, sadly, so it took a while to get here. And this video is also not an unboxing or assembly video. There are a ton of those already, along with the official ones that JHS posted themselves. Actually, get to this stuff. This is the typical YouTuber thing. If you like this channel, please hit the subscribe button. The bell icon will let you know when I put up a new video. There's like over 97% of the people watching these videos I put up, they're not subscribers. You guys aren't subscribers, a lot of cases. So I don't know if I'm showing up in your feeds on a regular basis because of the YouTube algorithm, but if you subscribe, you will be sure not to miss any videos I put up in the future. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to share it, there is a button for that as well. Okay, so back to the wonderfulness that is the JHS Notadumble. Okay, the short story is this is a solderless kit made by JHS Pedals. They did one a while back that was Klon based called not a Klon. Same idea, but in this case, it's Dumble flavored. This kit went together pretty quickly and easily. One of the knobs, though, did have a hard time sliding on the potentiometer on its own. It was a bit snug, but a little wire brush I happen to have on hand opened things up nicely and able to get it on there, no problems. Okay, but let's go through the pedal itself. It is a two-mode, or basically a two-channel pedal. There's a clean side and a overdrive side. JHS originally stated that the clean side is based off of a device that JHS did for John Mayer called a box it later. And it was based off of a device that Dumble made called a box later. And it was kind of like a buffered boost, preamp effects loop type of combo pack that, you know, it's one of those weird and amazing things that Dumble does. And it was something very specific for John. It kind of worked for his pedal board and such. Dumble has made weird things like that, like the Dumbulator, where it's like kind of like a buffered effects loop for things like that to work with his amps. There's a lot of stuff out there. But anyways, they made this pedal. This is kind of like the clean side is kind of based off of that. Although this pedal does not have that effects loop function. Just it's got normal. It's got a normal input and output, and it's also got just an input and output control section as well too for like input gain and output gain. But however, this past week, Josh himself stated that the circuit that he based this off of wasn't that a box later. He actually somehow made an error in when he selected the schematics for this, and it was based off of a more rare Dumble device, if there could be such a thing, called a BBC1. And this mix-up that has happened has had some big repercussions, which I'll get into later on that aspect of it. But I really like this clean side. It's quite nice. The overdrive side of thing is based off of a Dumble overdrive special amp. It's typical drive pedal controls, volume, EQ, and drive. Okay, I have never plugged into an actual Dumble amp. I've played through some clones, and there have been some multi-effects devices that have had Dumble modes or models loaded in them as well. And I've even owned a couple of Dumble flavored drive pedals. And the statement of nothing beats the real thing is probably almost always true, and I won't argue that. But all the Dumble flavored stuff that I've played through sounded really nice, and this pedal falls into that really nice category. It's very, I liked whenever I've plugged that sound or dialed that sound up from whether it's an amp or a model or a sim of it or the pedal of it, I've always enjoyed it. The clean side on this booster based, I could very easily see is like this is like an always on preamp, and I could actually see myself using this in some with another drive pedal as some kind of gain stacking application. I really have to say the drive, when you crank that up, it's really nice and crunchy. It's very natural. It reacts very well to picking and dynamics, as well as input volume, as well as the pickups of a guitar. Different single coil sound, very different than humbucker, so it's not coloring a lot, which is really nice. I call it, when you really push this clean channel hard, it's like a power rhythm mode of sorts. And while it may not be that box it later circuit, I never knew what the original box it later was, or the BBC one, so I can't compare it to anything, but it sounds really great. I like that. On the other end, the drive side, it's got a lot more gain and overall more saturation that adds for really clear and articulate lead sounds. It's got that nice dynamic response to what you're doing and what you're doing when it hits this pedal. It's one of those pedals that kind of has that amp-like overall in the response. And I've plugged this into my usual cast of characters for amps. I've plugged into my Blues Junior, a Boss Katana, and what you heard on the video was me plugging it into my Strymon Iridium on a clean Fender setting. The only thing I added to the entire mix when I did the lead part was add a little bit of delay just to give it a little extra depth. The EQ is quite flexible on both channels. It's kind of like they're kind of like pass filters. They're kind of clockwise. When they're clockwise all the way, there's like no cut. So and when you go counterclockwise, they get less trebly, a lot more bassy. There's an internal presence control inside here. I have it set in the middle, as it was suggested to start with it, and I haven't been missing or thinking that any extra tweaks would really be necessary, other than if you plug this in, get a good sound on your amp, and then dial your amp to match what you're looking for, and then kind of split the differences between the EQ you kind of need on the pedal and the EQ you need to have on your amp. Now, I dig this overall, and I could very easily just use the clean mode with some other drive, as I mentioned. For players looking for that modern style lower gain overdrive pedal or medium gain drive pedal, this is really kind of cool. It doesn't get into that metal type of stuff. It's really great rich amp type of sound in there as well too. And it's kind of one of those pedals that's a great option compared to like something maybe like a tube screamer or even like a normal vintage overdrive. Classic rock and blues stuff really work nice with this pedal in context. I don't really see a lot of really heavy rock being used with this, although it could be, depending on what your amps are and how you have things set up, that might work. But one of these with a small tube amp, like the way I have my Blues Junior, is just a really great application. It's very nice. It's very natural sounding, and it didn't get in the way. It just I feel like it added more to what I had going on. Now, JHS has gotten a lot of feedback from players on this pedal, even though it's basically been out for like a month. And one comment is they want to modify this to have the clean channel, the channel switching function be foot switchable. Whether they have, JHS has a little box called the red switch where you could toggle between it remotely. We just have like another output jack. They've kind of poo-pooed that. I read their response about it, and yes, it did make sense, but it still makes me ask why. I'd like to see how they say wouldn't work well functionality wise in an actual practical setting, because I read their response. And then yet I kind of think, well, I'd like to see why, the actual result of doing something that is not suggested, and then say, oh yeah, maybe that isn't what you want to do with this pedal. So it does make me kind of wonder a little bit, especially where there have been some recent developments where even again, this pedal's been out a month. Some other pedal companies have already started offering mods on this. I know Cosmodio Instruments offers up a channel, I believe a switching option as well as a switching order option. So if you want to try that out, you could check with them. I saw that on their Instagram and it looked really cool. But that kind of gets me to the previous mentioned repercussions of the kerfuffle on the clean side and that little mix-up that JHS had. Okay, so because they had originally said, oh, this is based off the box it later, and it's really not. Josh is very particular, and he says, but because it's not exactly what he had intended or advertised for, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to discontinue this pedal after their initial 15,000 unit run. That was their original idea. They were so overwhelmed with the Notaclons, they tried to manage the release of this where they weren't scrambling to get orders out the door. So that makes a lot of sense initially, but because they're now going to cut it at their initial 15,000 unit run, this is technically a limited edition or a limited run pedal. So modding this pedal could mean its value might be diminished in the used market sense of things, but that doesn't mean there's no reason, if you own one or if you're going to order one, to get it and modify it or not modify it. It's just that the unmodded ones might be more desirable in the future. Who knows? It's not stopping me from considering it, and I'm not going to try to speculate on its value in the future for some sort of investment. I don't generally look at gear that way, and I generally suggest people don't look at gear in that way on their own as well. 15,000 units of pedals like this isn't exactly a super small run, but compared to companies like Boss or Electro Harmonics, it's not a lot, but to JHS, it's not a lot in this grand scheme of those things, but it is a lot compared for a company maybe like JHS. The second point is there may be a version 2 of this pedal coming out with the correct Dumble circuit being employed. And based off of the feedback the players have given JHS, this could perhaps have the effects loop mod and maybe a channel switching or a dual mode option. I like that idea. Maybe they're going to take all of the feedback they get from their players and try to incorporate all of it. It's one of these pedals that options aren't usually a bad thing when it comes to putting something like this together, especially when you have a lot of different applications. And I could see that this having more options would be useful for some players, and some people just like the tweakability of it. For the price, this was really worth it for the fun factor of building a actual pedal kit without soldering. And the drive style is just different enough that it works. It fills kind of a spot in my pedal library of pedals. I don't have one. In fact, I don't have a Dumble flavored drive pedal anymore. And I thought if I was going to add one to the mix, why not add a very unique one? And now it is even more unique, which I dig. So I'm definitely going to hold on to it. I don't know if I'm going to mod it or not, but it's definitely something that brings something cool to the table, and I would like to be able to tap into it in the future when I need it, because I do find a lot of use out of it, especially after only really playing with it for about 3 weeks or so. It's a really cool drive pedal, and as you can hear in the video, it does lend itself to some really great stuff. But I'd love to hear from you guys on this one. Did you get one? How do you like it? How are you using it? Are you incorporating with other pedals in your rig for gain stacking? Are you gonna mod it? Have you modded it? What do you do to it? Are you gonna get one and just hold it in the box and have it as a conversation or a collector's piece? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Take care.